Breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes or so is that former WWE superstar Cesaro has exited the company after his contract with the company has expired. The two sides have failed to come to terms on a new deal. Plenty of details surrounding this shocking departure from the company, and we're going to get right into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope you're all doing very well. So this is a really surprising story. Cesaro is gone from the WWE after his contract with the company has expired, as I mentioned in the intro. Both sides have failed to come to terms on a new deal. Now this is very surprising considering that I recall, like many people, a story last year that Cesaro had signed a new multi-year deal with the company. His contract was coming up after WrestleMania 37. He re-signed a contract during the midst of his feud with Roman Reigns over the Universal Championship and feud with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and then coming out of WrestleMania also. So the feeling was that he was tied in with the company for multiple years, and now that looks like it's not the case because he's now no longer with the company. Now, it must be stressed, he has not been released. His contract has seemingly just expired, and they haven't been able to come to terms with a new deal. Now, to obviously give credit to the people that broke the original story, that being Mike Johnson from PW Insider, broke the story, as I mentioned, just a few minutes ago, saying, quote, WWE star Cesaro has quietly exited WWE after his current contract expired, PWInsider.com has confirmed. Now, Cesaro last made an appearance for WWE on the February 11th edition of SmackDown, where he lost to Happy Corbin. Now, PW Insider is reporting that the two sides had been in negotiations for a while, but had not come to terms on a new agreement. One source noted to PW Insider that WWE did offer Cesaro an extension on his current deal, but that was turned down. Now, it is the case of his contract expiring and him not being released. There is no 90-day non-compete clause. Cesaro can go anywhere he wants as of today, or as of right now, as of whenever his contract expired. He is free to go anywhere he wishes, that being AEW, Impact Wrestling, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the NWA, whatever you want to call it, Terminus. He can go anywhere he wants. Not as Cesaro, probably as Claudio Castagnoli, but nevertheless, his contract has expired. Now, reportedly, PW Insider is also reporting that Cesaro had been slated to be at tomorrow's SmackDown taping in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but obviously will no longer be there as his deal expired earlier on in the week. Now, that is shocking in itself, but Fightful Select is coming up with some extra details regarding Cesaro's departure from the company, really surprising departure from the company. They're also confirming, PW Insider's report, that Cesaro has indeed left the company after his contract expired. Fightful have confirmed the story with people within the WWE and also on the talent roster also. Now, reportedly, Fightful Select are saying that the immediate reaction from those within the WWE was massive disappointment and dismay. Cesaro was one of the most universally liked talents on the roster, and they're also being told this was not a case of WWE not wanting him there. In fact, WWE really did want Cesaro to stay. He was offered a new contract in which WWE sources are claiming to Fightful was rejected by the Swiss superstar. Now, WWE also confirmed to Fightful that Cesaro was on a one-year extension, and as a result of it expiring, there is no non-compete clause. So that was the situation, I guess, when it came to his previous contract. At the time, it was reported that Cesaro had signed a new contract. That was technically true, but it would appear that maybe same terms, I don't know what the terms were, but it was just a one-year extension. That 1 year is seemingly up, and because of that, he's out of here. And again, I remember hearing the reports last year that his contract was going to expire after WrestleMania. Maybe it was a case of actually slightly before, but they added some time on, whether it be for injuries, well, I don't know. But he agreed a 1 year extension. That year is up, and they haven't come to terms on a new deal since then. Now, Fightful are also reporting a similar situation to what PW Insider have been reporting, that there were plans to use Cesaro on upcoming shows, but of course that's no longer the case since he's no longer with the company. Fightful have also been told that at the time of the departure, there had been no long-term creative plans for Cesaro, and that unless a new deal was reached, that would remain to be the case. Now, Cesaro in recent weeks had been teaming up with Mansoor, I think on SmackDown, had been doing really nothing of any substance whatsoever. He'd lost his last 7 televised matches, dating all the way back to November, and Fightful are also reporting that there was no indication that he was going to re-sign with the company, and therefore no incentive to push him accordingly. One source also indicated to Fightful that this wasn't the first time that this had happened, as they recall contract negotiations just last year that caused Cesaro to be pulled from a top contender gauntlet match because he hadn't signed. So some may be indicating that maybe Cesaro could indeed return to the company if a new deal is reached. I think if it comes to Cesaro at this point, and I'm speculating here, it must be said, I don't have any insider information, I don't have any scoops or anything like that, but I would think Cesaro is probably looking at it from a point of view of, you know what, I've given them a ton of chances. I've given them so many chances. I'm 41 years old now. Cesaro's 41. And he says, look, I've given him so many chances. Last year, it looked like I was going to go. I was thinking about going. AEW is a really viable option. They're kind of, they're like, given all of the ex-Ring of Honor talent they have there, it's kind of, that's kind of the company they're becoming. Is those stars, Bryan Danielson, CM Punks, all that kind of stuff. Kenny Omega. You kind of got the impression last year that he was considering it, and then what happened? WWE pushed him. Finally, people rejoiced because finally he got his WrestleMania singles match, and he faced Seth Rollins, and he beat Seth Rollins. Yeah, Seth freaking Rollins, who was a big star in WWE, a really big deal, a main eventer. Cesaro beat him at WrestleMania last year. The following month, he faced Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship in the main event of a pay-per-view, WrestleMania Backlash. Was Cesaro ever going to win that? No, of course he wasn't, but he was being featured. He was in main event angles, and after that, he still faced Seth Rollins, and it felt like that was a big deal. But inevitably, when it comes to WWE, and I've said this multiple times, it's nothing new, that Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, those guys, when they have their mind made up on something, that's it. You can have fans try and persuade them. You can have people in the back try and persuade them. You can have writers or whoever, agents, try and persuade them. And maybe for a little bit they'll cave. And they'll push them for a little bit, or they'll have them go over an established person in a main event or in a big match, and you'll go, finally they're doing it. Finally they're pushing this guy. But eventually Vince McMahon just goes, nah, you can't convince me. And Cesaro's back to being a mid-card guy again, and he's back to being a tag team guy. And make no mistake, I don't think if Cesaro goes to, say, AEW, I don't think Cesaro goes to AEW and becomes the AEW World Champion. I think it's past that at that point, to be honest with you. I know he's 41, but it probably is past that at that point. But he would be a featured player in the show. He'd be doing something of substance. He'd be having those killer matches where you'd be talking about him again. And I mean, how many years have we had that conversation with Cesaro and WWE? Man, if they just got behind this guy, the stuff this guy can do in the ring, it's incredible. He's one of the best in-ring workers. And some people say, well, he can't cut a promo. So what you don't, so either if you think he can't cut a promo because he's not, from America, or he's Swiss. He's Swiss, he has a bit of an accent, so he can't cut a promo, or he's not a very good promo. Okay, why don't you try and fix that? When you say, okay, if he's just not improving when it comes to the promo, why not give him a manager? Why not give him a mouthpiece? And guess what? When they have in the past, he got super over in the Real Americans because he had Zeb Coulter. Dutch Mantel cutting promos. They put him with Paul Heyman, but realistically, that wasn't to get Cesaro over. That was to get Paul Heyman over because Brock Lesnar had gone off television, but the plan was we need to give Paul Heyman something to do because Brock just beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He just defeated his undefeated streak. We need to keep Paul Heyman on television because we need to keep Brock hot. That's the only reason that Paul Heyman was with Cesaro, and in the end, that faded out into nothingness. So, like everyone, I'm a huge Claudio Castagnoli Cesaro fan, and I think that he will have so many suitors available and wanting him to come into the company. I think Tony Khan picks up the phone today, right now. He might even be on the phone with Cesaro already. Revolution is next weekend. You've got the Face of the Revolution ladder match. You've already got some big names that they're working on. I would probably think that Tony Khan probably knew that Cesaro's contract was expiring anyway, and once he's got the all clear, I can officially talk to Cesaro right now, boom, he starts ringing the numbers. And you've got people in AEW, of course, that know Cesaro, whether it's, again, Bryan Danielson, whether it is CM Punk, whether it's whoever, all of these people. And now, again, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm saying to myself, right, I can bring Cesaro in, and he could just be Claudio Castagnoli, and he can work great matches, that's cool. But you've also got the option of going, Chris Hero's a free agent as well. And I know Chris Hero isn't what Chris Hero used to be, and I know physically and all that kind of stuff, but you've still got a possibility of reuniting the Kings of Wrestling in an AEW ring with that AEW tag team division as strong as it is, when you've got the Young Bucks, when you've got Red Dragon, when you've got Jurassic Express, when you've got the Lucha Brothers, when you've got, I could go on and on and on and on of all of the tag teams they have, Santana and Ortiz, I could continue going on. And you could possibly bring in the Kings of Wrestling again. That's exciting. That's really, really exciting. So it's a shocking one. It's one I didn't see coming because, again, like most people, I assumed that he had signed a new contract, but Cesaro has exited WWE. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling News 365, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.